Today I'm going to talk to you about the career pivot that I want to make and how absurd and insanely hopeful it feels to do so against the backdrop of what it is likely the downfall of the American empire. So if you want to hear somebody yap about that, talk about fears that you might likely have yourself, then please stick around. And if you just want to hear what that's like, even if you're not experiencing it, then also please stick around. My name's Amanda. It's been about 2 years since I've posted on my channel. I'm an author. I am also a podcaster, a co-founder and manager of a book club, and I'm here to talk about the fact that I am writing 2 screenplays and that my goal is to break into the movie industry, and how fucking terrifying that is, like I said, against the backdrop of what is the fall of the American empire as we know it. Just a little bit of background for me. I have always been interested in stories. Telling stories, that's been my thing. I was the girl who was making up stories for her little Barbie dolls. Way too complex for my friends to follow. They were like, we just want them to go to the mall. We just want them to get married. No, I insisted that there was drama, there was messiness, maybe even a vampire or two, a witch for good measure. That was me. Initially, when I was a kid, there was a long time I wanted to be an actress. I went to auditions, I did acting classes, I went to like an acting kind of convention where you audition for all of these talent people. It didn't pan out in part because of my own fear of rejection. I got rejected big time in college from this play that I had auditioned for and promptly decided that acting was not for me. But was always creating stories. Around the same time I wanted to be an actress and was going to these auditions and stuff, I also started writing novels. I started writing because it made me feel better, and that parlayed into a desire to be an author. But even with this desire of authorship, there was always a part of me that wanted my books to be on screen. I would look at the authors who had their books adapted for the screen and think, that's exactly what I want to happen. That is exactly what is going to happen for me. And as we know, most book-to-screen adaptations don't always have the same amount of sauce. You know what I mean? There are times where they knock it out the park, and there are other times where the audience is massively disappointed. So I say all of that to paint this picture of somebody who loves telling stories and reading stories and viewing stories. My journey to screenwriting, the pivot, happened last year when I made a viral tweet where it was a picture of Anne Hathaway and Zendaya, and I said that they look like rival queens of a vampire coven. It went viral, and that was my first moment of virility, and I was already working on a story about a vampire coven, and this idea fit nicely into that. And I thought, well, instead of writing this as a book like I had planned, why not just try it as a screenplay? Because a lot of people who were seeing the tweet said I would watch this movie. As I had mentioned, I wanted to be that author whose works got adapted, got optioned, and who would actually see that option come to fruition and see those works on the screen. I just thought, why not just give it a try and just start working on a screenplay? And the idea percolated in the back of my mind. I published No One's Gonna Take Our Soul Away, my most recent title. Had been revisiting and trying to work through what the screenplay would look like since probably July. And I'm just now getting to the point where I'm actually feeling like I can start working on the screenplay itself. And that's because the story just took shape and changed and morphed as any part of the creative process. But you don't care about that. You're here to hear me talk about the pivot and the fears and all of that. So let's get into what the fuck I'm afraid of, shall we? First of all, this being a massive career pivot is terrifying because, number one, it's not anything I'm familiar with. I've been researching and reading books on film theory, listening to podcasts about it, reading scripts. I've done and have been doing my research. Obviously, it's nothing like actually taking pen and paper and writing the screenplay or actually being on a set for a movie, a TV show, etc. I don't have that experience. And I didn't go to film school. My major is mass communications and journalism, for fuck's sake. There's that fear of the inexperience. The fear of who are me to be writing the screenplay and to be bold enough to think that this can actually become a movie when I didn't go to film school. I haven't put in years of work. I don't really know or am still starting to research how to network with people in the business. And locationally, I don't live in LA or Atlanta or any like film city. So it's the fear of being an outsider, what feels like being an outsider, plus how do I even begin to network? I'm also 35 and I don't consider that old in most cases. I'm not old, I'm grown is generally what I say. But in certain industries, like 35 is like your golden girl. And it just feels a little bit like, who are me, once again, to be wanting to start this over at 35. When at this point, for most people, you are settling or have settled into a career, you got married, you have children, and that's your focus. And while I was married and am now happily divorced, children are not going to be on the plan for me anytime soon. My focus is my career, and that includes screenwriting. The other fear, again, is this American empire that we are watching crumble in front of our very own eyes, behind television screens, behind the phone screens, as we doom scroll while taking a break at our jobs because, yes, we are all still having to work while America is experiencing its series finale. It feels almost absurd going, I'm just gonna write a script or two and try to get this movie made and break into this industry full of people who already have years and decades of experience, and I'm gonna just be that brassy new kid on the block who's like, we're doing it my way. It feels absurd, but then I saw two things. First of all, Nina Simone has said that an artist's job is something like an artist's job is to reflect the times, write about the times, to talk about the things that are happening in the times that they live in. And I firmly agree with that. There's also that Lord of the Rings quote from Gandalf where he says, all we can do is decide what to do with the time that we're given. And then also, I saw this quote that was talking about the fact that during other times of fuck shit happening in the world and mass fascism and poverty and turmoil, people were still falling in love. People were getting married. They have babies. They still make music and find joy and make friends and help each other and realize their potential in all of these wonderful ways. Why should I let these fears get in my way when people are having human experiences, creating art, falling in love, having babies, etc., during this time? Because they've done so in every other time that's happened in this world, and they will continue to do so. I say, I guess, all of that in this multi-minute ramble. I don't even know how long this video is going to be. To say that if you are out there and you are afraid of what's happening in the world, I don't blame you. I am too. And if you are all out there and you are also afraid to make shit shake for yourself, to go after your dreams, because you either feel like I'm of an age where I'm not in my 20s anymore. How can I pursue this dream and make a pivot? Can I even take these chances? And by chances could mean, quitting your day job and then starting in this new industry, or devoting your free time to this. Your time is also valuable too. And if you are just having any kind of fear of putting yourself out there or starting anew or whatever, then you're not alone. And so I'm posting this video as, I guess, the first part, and I don't know how many installments, but this is, I guess, just the first video that's as much for anybody who watches this as it is for myself. That is a reminder to go for it, a reminder to push past fears, a reminder that just because you live in tumultuous, terrifying times, that does not mean that you cannot still pursue your dreams, and it does not mean that you shouldn't. And just because you might not have the insider experience, as much experience, doesn't mean that you don't have stories to tell, doesn't mean you don't have something to say that deserves to be said, and you should try to say it. I ate that. Oh. Okay, I'm gonna go. I'll see y'all later. Bye.